All the things you could be by now if Sigmund Freud's wife was your mother. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That actually is the title of a tune written by the subject of my first poem. And in the spirit of non-traditional parents, the bassist composer who wrote this tune, Charles Mingus, qualified in my life at a particular point in time as a non-traditional parent. This is called Requiem for a Nubian Jazz Bass King. And we say 1, 1, 2, 3. A jive poem for a hepcat. Charles Mingus Regal as in Charles instead of Charlie. Am I sitting in his jazz court, age 21, Philadelphia, round the early 70s. I'm thinking back to a jazz club near Broad and Spruce Streets. Can't remember its name, but it was right after I lost my parents. But around the time Ray was giving those fun fish dinner parties for Miss Betty Carter, I was happy lonely. We were all beautiful and I knew it was history. I was drinking Chivas and ginger then, and y'all always said it was not a real drink. Mr. Mingus, Mr. Mingus, Mr. Mingus, a rapper before all rappers. You knew to respect me, even when drunk, so drunk, one show. You couldn't get your foot up on the rung, but the bass still lay accurately in the bend of your arm. I tell the story of your protection of me in the clubs late at night. Based me from the amateur Storyville type jive characters, only the creme de la creme could sit with me, you would see. No one could lean on my journalistic pen when I was covering the band. The music was the wisdom. The literature so fascinating, I've since wondered why you liked horns so much. You played out, you played in, you played pretty and swung. I learned to grunt words and talk shit. That night you let me call the tune. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A special treat for you, Charles Mingus composition dedicated to all mothers. And it's titled, All the Things You Could Be by Now If Sigmund Freud's Wife Was Your Mother, which means if Sigmund Freud's wife was your mother, all the things you could be by now, which means nothing. That tune got me started wishing all mothers happy Mother's Day instead of just mothers, and spelling that word all different and things. The language of your music and your corner club night school, your bow as a pointer to the lesson, and my front row stage right pew in the church of what's happening now. Mingus would bow his bass and pluck it, letting me know it was okay to be creative and in pain. Goodbye, pork pie hat of love. So glad I was there, so happy to have made your acquaintance, because I knew it was happening all those years at the history of this music called jazz. Thank you. My next piece, it's kind of a self-assignment in terms of the film. This flight of fancy is a narrative involving two of my mind you, sitcom characters, a grandmother and a granddaughter. I put them in a similar situation as two characters in our movie. The kids are all right. I always wondered about my granddaughter Natalie's relationship with her roommate Lily. Ever since Natalie injured her spine, she's been hanging around this crippled girl named Lily. What kind of name is that? All of a sudden, they're living together. Well, Natalie's recovered. What's the connection now? Natalie's supposed to be a writer. Don't they want to be alone? Lord have mercy. Natalie says she even helps Lily in and out of the shower nude, I presume. That's a little different than helping her lace up those combat boots she calls shoes. No man would want her anyway. She can't hardly walk. I wouldn't be surprised if she went both ways these days. But you can tell Natalie and Lily have real love for each other. Real love. More than love. If that's the case, Natalie needs to get a grip and be more like me, grandmommy sis, a strong black woman who can still attract a man. No one would have ever guessed about me. They couldn't see. I know who I am. I don't know who my granddaughter is, but I hope she doesn't have to hide her pride like me. Thank you. And back to the poetry. Any child that has a non-traditional father figure like Charles Mingus needs a non-traditional mother figure. Mine I call Mother Downbeat. And this is in memory of Roberta Bobby Morrison. Riding drums on a rhythmic journey, Mother Downbeat Bobby by my side. Jewish 'cause her mother was, and a jazz drummer 'cause her mother let her be. The keeper of my brief memory, my mother's piano and organ, international sweethearts of rhythm, raising cool children who understand. I came to Mother Downbeat via Philly cheesesteaks and homemade sangria and anthropology in Rome with one of drummer mother's children for a classmate. Tragedy followed, and she gifted me a mom. I came to Mother Downbeat via John Coltrane tunes later. Mom was the best with the brushes. I know, 'cause I listened and typed and wrote about her, an employed jazz journalist on the scene. Philly Mother Downbeat. Substitute teacher, California, after I left everything behind. We're on the same coast now, thank God. I was slow on the uptake. Took me 30 years to show love back by beating out these poem praises. Generous Mom, this poetry should be a book with comprehensive complimentary CD box set. Poets, though, must finish quick before pencils down, like the writers in Union Tinseltown, or like when Mom Bobby had to say, "Sticks down, I'm 90, I'm not swinging that much anymore." At present, I share with her, leaving behind my first published words at age 16, leaving behind Philly and Italy and Harlem too, Massachusetts, D.C., and old Baltimore, Mother Downbeat. We add joy together now, joy that life is playing itself out. Joy we both have health problems, joy at the side effects of meds, and joy that we don't care anymore. Mother Downbeat puts me up at the Sandman Motel because of my asthma. I wish to write about her rhythms, better to write about the beating of her gentle, open heart instead. In the mail, she sends me surprise books from time to time with a couple dollars in them, though I'm grown. I will love you forever and say thank you eternally, my Mother Downbeat. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a beautiful audience.
We're gonna do this gently and melodically as opposed to energetically.